Hi YouTube, I'm Lisa and you're watching The Backward Glance. Today is August 1st, 2019. I'm pretty excited about August. I looked back at some of my numbers and noticed that last year August is when my sell-through rates really started to go up after the so-called summer slowdown. Also, I remember that there was a day in early August when all of a sudden I started selling a ton of jeans, and I have a lot of jeans for sale that I feel like are pretty decent jeans, so I'm hoping that happens again for me this year. So this is going to be another What Sold Quickly on eBay video. I am primarily a clothing reseller, so most of this is going to be clothing. I do have one jewelry item to show you today, and just like always, I'll be showing you 10 items that flipped within 30 days of being listed in my eBay store. 30 days is a pretty quick flip in the clothing category, or at least I consider it to be pretty quick. So that's what qualifies for these videos. And I do have a bonus item at the end. I'm going to share with you my worst sale of the month. So stick around if you want to see that. So let's get into these first 10 items. This is a pair of Bontrager road cycling shoes, and these were in really excellent condition. I don't think they were ever used for cycling. I picked these up for $8.40. I sold them for my full asking price of $48, and they took 6 days to sell. So here's a little close-up, if I can, of the Bontrager logo there, and I did have to look up numbers inside to find the style name, which was Circuit. Circuit was not one of the higher priced ones or one of the ones with a better sell-through rate. So definitely, if you come across these, especially if you're paying up for them at all, I would look up those numbers and really see if the style that you have is worth it. Some of them were definitely listed in like the $60 to $80 range for some of the other styles, so there's better ones out there than this for sure. Another pair of shoes here. This is a pair of Allegria shoes, and I've personally never seen this style before. These were called the Abbey Lace-Up, and they were like a patent leather. Most of the Allegrias that I've seen are always slip-on, but they do always have these soles, and they have like a little butterfly logo on the sole if you see there. If you've never found this brand, let's see if I have a better picture. Here's a picture of the insoles, so they just say Allegria by PG Light, and I think I've mentioned this before, but they're in sort of the similar target market as Dansko's, but personally the thrift stores by me don't mark these up near as high as Dansko's, and I can usually sell them for about what I sell Dansko's for. So I paid $4 for this pair, and I did get my full asking price of $38, and these took 3 days to sell. Item number 3 is this Jamie Sadek top, and this is a golf brand. If you happen to see my last video, I had a really similar top. I picked these up at the same time, and I think that top had taken 3 days to sell, and this top took 4 days to sell, so a pretty good turnaround on these. I paid $4.20 for this top. I did sell it through offers to watchers for $20, and it took, like I said, 4 days to sell. In case you didn't see that last video, here is the tag on that again. And you may also see skirts and like long sleeve tops by this brand. By the way, I forgot to mention, but the buyer is always paying shipping on my items, so the price I tell you, they are paying shipping on top of that. Next is this pair of mother jeans, and this is the first time I found mother jeans. And I was really excited when I found them, and then I listed them, and I got 0 watchers. And they sold without ever having a watcher, which is totally normal, but I was just surprised because people talk about mother jeans like they're so hot or they're so expensive, and I've been looking for them for so long that I think maybe the market dropped on them in that time, so I'm not sure. I picked up this pair of jeans for $8. I did get my full asking price of $38, and they took exactly 30 days to sell, so just made it into this video. Here's the tag. It's like almost a little bit holographic, so it was kind of tough to take a picture of. Pretty cool pair of jeans. I would definitely pick them up again. I just won't get too overly excited thinking that I hit the jackpot. This is a pair of shoes by a brand that I hadn't personally heard of called Swiss Engineering. I definitely thought that they looked intriguing. Excuse me, and decided to look them up, and the comps were really good on them. So I paid $5.30 for this pair, and I did get my full asking price of $32. These took 27 days to sell. They did get a lot of watchers in that time, and I think I had them listed at maybe 36, and I did drop the price and they sold. And I had been sending out offers to watchers for like 28 and nobody had taken me up on that, so I thought I'd get a little bit more, but I'm still happy with my profit margin on these. They all have this, like, I think it's an ON on them. Let's see if I can find some more branding on here. I think this is the only place they actually said Swiss Engineering, so they're in the tongue of the shoe. Alright, next up is this pair of 511 tactical pants. I pick these up when I can find them for cheap. Don't ever pay up for this brand. It never sells for a lot, but it is a pretty consistent seller if you get it for cheap. So this happened to be a pair of women's pants, and they were an EMS cargo pant, so 511, you should be able to find a style number on the inside that you can look up and figure out exactly what they are. I paid $4.25 for this pair, got my full asking price of $24, and these also took 27 days to sell. So there is the tag for 511 Tactical. Item number 7 is this Salvatore Ferragamo necktie. This was a really great find. I love looking through ties, but I rarely pick any up. So I came across this one, snatched it up for just $3.16. I got my full asking price of $42, and it took 17 days to sell. Really, really beautiful tie. Salvatore Ferragamo is one of the few brands that I am confident about in neckties, and his like novelty prints do really well, so this one had little dragonflies on it. So this was branded in 2 places, as you can see there. Salvatore Ferragamo is a brand to look out for also in clothing. I don't come across it very often, and also in shoes. So some of the vintage shoes don't do as well depending on the style, but some of the newer shoes can command a pretty high price. So definitely keep that name in the back of your mind if you haven't seen it before. Here is my very best sale of the month, and I was so excited to find these shoes. So these are by a brand called Meslin, and these happen to be the Platinum series, meaning that they were even more expensive to begin with. So here is, we can blow this up in here, the Meslin Platinum. These are a genuine alligator skin shoe, and they did retail above $1,200 or right around there from what I could find, and I paid $6.20 for these. I got my full asking price of $165. That took 28 days. I did have these listed at $185, got a lot of watchers, sent out some offers to watchers, and didn't get any responses, so I did lower the price to $165, and then they sold. This pair happened to show a little bit more wear than some of the pairs in comps, so I was just kind of feeling out that price point. Just some wear on the sole, but then they also had like a little bit of spots on them, if you can see that, and a little bit of damage to a couple of the scales. So nothing too major, but definitely had to kind of feel out what the market would bear for price point there. But really, really happy with this. This is the second pair of genuine alligator shoes that I've sold, and the other one was not really a super high-end name brand, but also sold for around $100. And it seems like the thrift stores don't really understand the value of alligator, which is good for us sellers. So that was a great find. Item number 9 is this skirt by a brand called Effie's Heart, and just a really, really cute strawberry print. I hadn't heard of this brand. I looked at the tag and I thought, well, that's kind of cool. I'll look this up. So, not super expensive retail, but it definitely seems to have a following. People just love these like novelty print skirts. That's something that I used to sell a lot of when I was selling vintage. So I paid $5 for this skirt. I got my full asking price of $28, and that took 16 days. This is another item that I marked down. I did try and list it at 32, which was above the comps, but I thought maybe someone would just think that, they really wanted this print. And then I marked it down $4 and it sold right away, so that was good. And the 10th item that sold within 30 days is this turquoise ring. I don't know a lot about jewelry, but I've been squirreling some away. I've bought some at garage sales and things like that. And so this weekend I went and visited a friend of mine who sells a lot of jewelry and had him look at everything I had and kind of give me like his idea on the value and on what the stones might be and things like that. So this was a sterling silver ring, and I did buy myself a ring mandrel so that I can size rings. So it was a size 8 1/4. And this stone is probably turquoise, but since I cannot guarantee it, I did just put turquoise colored stone, and I wrote in the description that I'm not 100% sure that it's genuine turquoise. Looks like a bigger ring than it is, if you can see there in this picture. I have this dish that's like hands that I like to use for my jewelry photos, and they are about life size, so that's why I like to use them, because it gives you an idea of scale. So I looked up comps on this, and I did list a little bit at the lower end of comps, only because there are so many turquoise rings set in sterling silver available, like thousands and thousands, and the sell-through rate is not that good, but so many people have them priced really high. So since this was a small ring, my friend who sells jewelry suggested I price it at 20, but I went ahead and priced it at 24. I paid $5 for this, and I got my full asking price of 24, and it took just 2 days to sell. So I might try and push the price point up just a little bit higher if I find something similar, but not too much higher probably. I think that that's a really fair price for that ring. And I promised to show you my worst item of the month, and one of the reasons that I wanted to show this is because it was in my haul video, and it's this pair of girls' Ivivva leggings. Ivivva is like the kids' version of Lululemon, if you're not familiar. I had personally never picked it up because I don't look through kids' clothes, but I found this in the women's section. Here's the Ivivva tag. Now, I'm not going to say that Ivivva is a bad brand to buy, because what happened with these was they had some pilling, which I knew when I bought them, and then when I was cleaning the pilling off of them, I found a little spot on them, just very small, but as you can see even from this picture, I was not able to get like all the fuzziness off. I got like the pills off, but yeah, I just wasn't very happy with the condition, and I had originally thought that I would return them, but I've had a lot of luck with auctioning off Lululemon items that have flaws, so I thought, I don't know the style name, I couldn't find it. I thought I'll just throw it up, and who knows, maybe it's a style that is a little rarer or more sought after, and maybe people will buy it even in this condition. So I just closed the condition and threw it up on auction, and it went through one auction cycle with no one bidding on it, so that was a bad sign. And on the second auction cycle, I got one bid for $10, and the buyer did come through and pay, so these are off to their new home. I paid, I think, $4.20 for these. So in the end, when I calculated, my actual profit was like less than $2. So not a great item. That doesn't happen with a ton of items, but since I'm usually showing you items that sell quickly, that means I'm usually showing you items that I got close to my full price for, and I just want to like temper that by showing you that I definitely pick up bad items now and then, and it's just part of doing business. So overall, you just hope that most of your items bring in a good profit, and every once in a while there's a dud in there, and you just have to roll with it. So that's what I have to show you today. I appreciate you watching. Feel free to like, comment, dislike, or subscribe.